Awesome. Welcome everybody to our Wellness Wednesday. Again, this is Dr. Sharon along with Nurse Paige, Walt, Kaminski, and our special guests tonight are Gina and Dr. Andy. And we are super excited to have them join us. Today is November 1st. I hope everybody had a fun and safe Halloween. And we are doing a couple weeks in a row of how you stay healthy and create healthy habits during the holiday season. We as lifestyle coaches practice 6 macro habits. And so each of these weeks, we're going to be picking one habit and kind of just having a conversation about it and how to stay healthy or become healthier. And this week's topic is the idea of the habit of healthy motion and being active individuals. So I'm going to turn it over to Walt to get us started here tonight.
Thanks, Sharon, and welcome Andy and Gina and Paige. It was nice that you were able to get home from work in time to join us tonight. When we talk about the habit of healthy motion, I think, we have people might be watching us for the first time. So I'm just going to throw it out there to the group. What does everyone consider the concept of the habit of healthy motion and how to incorporate it into their life?
It's a great one. For me personally, it actually helps me throughout the course of the day. So if I don't have any type of movement or motion in my world, in my day, I'm off. I'm cloudy, I'm unproductive or less productive. And so for me, it is a dedicated time each day that I am exercising or moving, and it can be as simple as a walk around the block with my dog. It can be a time of meditation or yoga or biking. I'm a huge cyclist, and so for me, it's getting on the bike and pedaling, whether it's for 30 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. So for me, it's consistent movement every day. It provides some clarity and productivity for me. So
awesome. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that? Go right ahead.
I'm like Gina, I need that to be productive. So every morning I get myself up. Well, my dogs get me up because they're early risers, but I'm usually out walking by 5:30 every morning. Like this morning, I got 7,000 steps done before I even got to work. Did an additional 10,000 steps at work today. So I don't think I would have made it through the day today and still maybe smile a little bit at the end of the day if I hadn't done my morning walk. And so that's my routine. Every morning I get up and walk. I want to start running again, but I haven't gotten there yet.
So it's awesome, right? Because I think all of us here practice that habit of healthy motion. But before we kind of dissect some of that elements of healthy motion, how do we get people to start? I mean, where do you start? What was that made everybody want to start that habit? Because you just can't wake up one day and say, I'm going to start walking every morning at 5 a.m. Or you can't just say, I'm going to go buy a gym membership and now I'm going to do something. I mean, so what helped you to start?
Yeah, I think that's a little different for everybody, but we all have that intrinsic motivation of why we want to get started. Some of us, it's the desire to, maybe we had a health crisis or something where our doctors told us, we're supposed to exercise, or maybe we had a friend that's needed a partner to do some of those kind of things. So I think whatever it is that gets us started it's different for everybody. For me, it was just not feeling well, and knowing that that's a healthy habit to do. Just take it one day at a time, and I'm typically not somebody that gets up early, but I have decided that as far as my schedule goes, that's something that works better for me if I'm going to try to get that in, rather than seeing how the day goes and not making it a priority. So once people make that priority to move healthily, doing it first thing in the morning or doing it at lunch or doing whatever works for their schedule, but making sure that we're doing that on a consistent basis, which is how we create that habit in the first place.
Hey, Walt, the other thing too is, per that comment of how do you get somebody, there was a comment today from a friend of mine at lunch who said, I'm lacking energy. Well, how do
Right.
you get energy? When we move, we're made to move. So we flipped the script a little bit. And per that conversation, it was just like, well, here are the things that you can do, throughout the course of the day. It doesn't have to be a dedicated period of time, but even throughout the course of the day, as opposed to sitting all the time, let's have a standing meeting. I won't do that now, but the idea of how do you get more energy, just taking that first step of, moving, and it could be just counting the steps to the bathroom. I know that sounds silly, but that concept itself, I know back in the day, it was just like, okay, for me, the steps to the bathroom, we're counting steps. Why not? Simple, right? Or stairs.
Well, yeah, and the cool thing was, and I appreciate that so much, Gina, is I was about to say, for someone who doesn't want to go out and get a Fitbit, or somebody who's not going to actually get the end of the day know what they've accomplished, what type of things can we just incorporate in our day and be more active, or get more energy, or get more steps per se, without necessarily saying, now I have to count them, I have to report them, I have to record them? What are some of the things just people can do every day that maybe work in an office or go shopping, or what kind of activities could they incorporate into their day, just to increase the amount of activity they get, very simply?
Park far away.
Right.
There's one.
Park far away. A lot of people sit all day long at work, and we generally have either a phone or some sort of watch. Doesn't have to be the techie watches that count our steps, but have an alarm go off and stand up every hour. Just the act of standing, it actually burns more calories. We practice what we call NEAT principles, which is not exercise, but it's activity and getting that body into motion. Sitting upright and maintaining a good posture is healthy for us.
Right.
So just stand once an hour. You're not going to waste time during your work. You're just standing up. And getting started is doing something as literally a baby step, just like that.
Exactly. And you know what? And it's not rocket science easy. So it's easy. It's something anybody can do. And now we're going to complicate the whole matter, right? Because, we got a couple things going on, right? We got the holidays coming up. So we start the habit, and then we start the holidays and we start eating more. You know, how would you suggest to somebody who's going to say the hustle and bustle and that element of time, right? That element of time always comes in when you got hustle and bustle. Some people, juggling all those things becomes very difficult. So what are some suggestions we might have to keep this habit alive, despite the hustle and bustle of the holidays and shopping and family events and decorating and all the things that go along with that, in and out of work?
For me, I go back down to the basics, Walt. That timer, that alarm is my go-to. So fundamentally, those are the basics for me to stay fueled appropriately throughout the course of the day. And I try very hard to stay on that cycle as well as that motion. So, when we're going to the grocery store, going to the retail store, wherever, buying things parked far away, like Paige said, take the extra steps. When you're on the phone, get up and walk around. But it's trying to stay true to the basics, just that fundamentals of, staying fueled, both hydrated,
Right.
drinking that water, as well as, eating the good stuff, the healthy groceries, as well as moving. So down to the basics, get that alarm. It's on my phone, it's with me most of the time. So it's okay. Those are fulfilling to me. So
Yeah, and I'd say even tie it into something else that you like to do.
Mhm.
Like when I ride the bike or I'm on the treadmill, I don't watch a lot of series and TV shows and those kind of things, but that's one thing I will do if I'm stationary. This is the time I'll allow myself to watch this show, and so I look forward to, I'm on the bike, I get to watch that show, or, when I'm walking, I know I'm going to be listening to a podcast or a book or something that I enjoy. So you're kind of stacking those things together that with things that you already enjoy, which just kind of reinforces that enjoyment with it too.
Awesome. Beautiful. So another thing that may be affecting some people, particularly, certain parts of the country right now, we're about to go through daylight savings time. We're about to go through some cooler weather, certain climates. Is there any additional thoughts around preparation, dress, in order to maintain, a healthy environment while you're doing these healthy motion to prevent those injuries that might be more susceptible to this time of year with cold weather or change of weather, change of season. For someone new, just starting out, what might they want to think about if I was suddenly going to want to go walking early in the morning in 32-degree weather?
I would say be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Don't carry a lot of things with you. Always be looking up, keep your chin up, watch where you're going, watch around you, depending on where you're located, and go to those safe spaces. I know there's still malls that exist and people walk at malls. It's a great place during the, colder temperature, to this different seasons to go to the mall and enjoy, the inside a little bit, but be aware. I think that was probably the biggest one. If you see something, say something, but certainly be aware.
If I was to be someone who was outside, would I need to worry a little bit more, you think, in a clothing aspect in terms of avoiding any of the sprains and strains and things of that nature, any type of outdoor things, if that was my preference? Although I love the mall idea because certainly a lot warmer. But if I was a diehard going outside either in the morning or at night, what type of precautions or type of things may I want to do before I start, just because of the time of year rather than summertime up in 90 degrees, perhaps?
As they start with, you can always layer, you put on a few things, you can always take things off. So be prepared to be a little cold when you start, but be prepared to kind of maybe remove a layer as you get warmed up. Knowing that your muscles are not going to be quite as flexible in the cold, and especially if you haven't been active, previously, then doing a bit of stretching beforehand, doing some warm-ups. Don't go straight out and run. Do a little bit of walking, get your heart rate up, get your body. Just know that you are not, we're every day we're the oldest we've ever been. So, we're not as young as we used to be. And so don't expect to be able to do what you used to be able to do. So ease into it, go slowly, listen to your body. If things are not feeling good, then you stop, you go slow, and you just kind of, listen to what your body's saying as you're going.
And of course, we have our essential amino acids too that we can use when we start.
That's right.
Right.
One of the things, I was outside today, and today it happened to be a cold day, the first real cold day that I felt, and I love being outside. And so stretching, that Dr. Andy said, but as long as my ears are covered, my feet are warm, and my hands are covered, I can withstand the temperatures better. So I think those are really key kind of body parts. Put a hat on your head and cover your ears. And I think the other thing with outside, because it happened to me the other day, is what shoes are you wearing? Because I slipped a little bit on some wet leaves when I was running. I caught myself because I've practiced this, but don't go out in, flip-flops and slippers. Like, get yourself a good pair of sturdy sneakers with good tread, so that even if you just go for a 5-minute walk every day when you're bundled up, will eventually become a habit where you start walking 30 minutes every day. You just got to be patient with it.
Yeah. And I guess just one follow-up question I would have to that, because, these things are going to happen because, when I start a healthy habit, I go full bore, I get all excited, and then I start to get these tweaks, right? The knee starts to tweak, the hammy starts to tweak. So I guess the question would be is, get the mindset of, I'll just play through it. What advice do you have with somebody who feels those tweaks from, starting up these activities, and their mindset of, I'm just going to play through it? What are some good steps or things to consider before you play through it?
I think just always to remember that our bodies have pain for a reason. That pain is kind of like the check engine light. That's something that tells you that something's not quite right there. So, covering that up or ignoring it can lead to further injuries or things that are, and with a car, if you blow your engine up, it's going to be more expensive. If you push through that, where you strain the muscle or, tear a ligament, that's going to be something that's going to take more time. So just, understand that pain is a signal that something isn't quite right. So slow down. There's a difference, between pain and soreness. And I think as you progress and, into activity, you kind of learn what that is. But if you're not familiar with the differences on that, then assume that there's, that's your body telling you to slow down or stop at that point.
Awesome. So I guess the last question, right? Somehow we got to get this around the holiday and food, right? So is there any science around the fact that if I eat so much on Thanksgiving, but I exercise harder right after, then I'm going to be good shape. I'm going to be fine. I'll be neutral. I got nothing to worry about. Or is there a little bit more to it than if I eat a lot and work out harder, everything's going to be fine? Is there any science to that?
You forgot the sleeping part, the food coma, right? That's the domino effect of how it happens, right? It's not neutral. Good job, though.
All right. We'll leave it at that.
Well, I think one of the things is when we talk about habits, we talk about the consistency of our habits. So if we start on November 1st, walking for 10 or 15 minutes, let's say, by Thanksgiving, you're not going to want to overeat because you're feeling good. Like a habit, a body in motion wants to stay in motion. And so you're not likely to overeat. And I think you'll learn that, you can't out exercise a bad diet, right? But, you can slightly increase your caloric intake, maybe 100 or 200 calories on that day and still be weight neutral because you can burn an extra 100 or 200 calories just by doing these simple principles of what we call those neat things, the standing and the walking and, making multiple trips up and down the stairs when you're carrying laundry. Don't take one big load up, do little loads up and down, and those steps will balance.
Yeah, and just being aware of what we're eating, how many calories are in, what we're eating, what the nutritional value is. If you eat or drink 8 ounces of eggnog, you're going to be running for a while. You got to understand how many
You sure could be.
Eggnog.
People do it.
A great example.
So, just informing ourselves as to what we're eating, is helpful in that manner as well.
And a good idea would be to look to see if there's a turkey trot in your area on Thanksgiving morning, because I'm sure there's local organizations that you can support by, dressing up like a turkey, getting some, active, your legs active and your heart up, and before you go and indulge. So it's always an option, and it's fun. You're laughing.
Yeah. And
I think there's a turkey trot. A couple people are going. I ref football games on Thanksgiving morning, so I'll get my 4 hours of running around on a football field.
Paige and I are doing it.
But I think there's a couple people here doing turkey trots.
We're doing a turkey trot. I think you guys are doing
more than a
turkey trot.
couple. Oh well, we're going to be busy on
I'll
Thanksgiving.
do a turkey waddle. There's no
Yeah.
It's okay. It's still movement, right? It doesn't have to look any one way, but we can move. And I think, what it just made me think of, when our habit of motion is consistent, your appetite is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
I've been exercising so regularly now that I actually I don't have cravings. I'm eating every couple hours. I'm not hungry. So if you apply the habit of motion, and we have lots of resources to give you now on the beginning of the month, by Thanksgiving, you're not going to want to overeat, and you get that exercise in the morning. Do your own turkey trot with your family. Then you won't eat as much. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So.
I know I've been asking mostly questions, but my other observation on all of this is, if you start the habit, you're going to look for opportunities to move. The key is getting yourself started. And if, I think we've shared so many great ideas here tonight. I don't know. I kind of feel like, we covered it all pretty well. Does you guys have any closing thoughts around the holidays and the habits, be it motion or any other, and how to get people to jump on board?
I would say, the biggest thing is just, it doesn't have to be about the food. It's the friends, the fellowship, the family, It's the people, the experiences. The food doesn't have to be the focal part of that. So not focusing on that, not making it such a big deal. Just take the pressure off of yourself as far as that goes. So yeah.
Take a healthy side yourself if you're invited.
Yep.
Yeah.
They all look forward to see what I'm showing up with. So
Are we invited? Can I come?
Absolutely.
my mom makes this, I'll just real quick, Christmas, my mom makes what we call heart attack on a plate, and it's a layer of potatoes, a layer of cheese, a layer of potatoes, a layer of cheese, and and heavy cream in there, and you bake it. And you can feel your arteries hardening as you eat this. So I've made my own version of it, and I use riced cauliflower, and I use reduced fat cheese, and I use light cream, and they all eat it.
Way to go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I might need that recipe.
Yeah. And I think Dr. Andy's spot on it. Our holidays are not about the food. We make it about the food. That's been our past tradition, but we can start new traditions. So take your family out for a little walk around the block on things. Bundle up, get their little cute hats on, and go for a walk in the morning. And then, we have a lot of healthy holiday recipes that are somewhat equivalent in your traditional, including a pumpkin pie that was crustless that I found today when I grabbed the guide for somebody. So if you're interested in that information, please let us know, and we'll be happy to share that. And I'll just say thank you, Dr. Andy. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
For joining us tonight, and I wish you both and all of us and all of the world watching a wonderful rest of the evening and a happy November, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you.
Bye.